All right, y'all, we are live on this beautiful Thursday morning. God bless everybody in Jesus' name. I pray in the name of Jesus, Yeshua the Messiah, that you and your family are blessed in many ways, as Bitcoin right now, guys, has gotten a move up from FOMC, and I'm in a few positions long here, baby. Actually, we've got about $500,000 plus another about 385,000. We're pretty dang close to $900,000 long right now, baby. And we are up combined, realized and unrealized, about 47,000 guys. And my goal, as I've said, is to make $100,000 by October on these long trades. Could it happen? It could happen. Will it happen? Probably not. Let's be real. Probably not. All right, why not? Because life just don't work that way, man. Life just don't work that way, man. We are on the treadmill. We are feeling good today. We got ourselves our good old-fashioned market cipher mug. Make sure, guys, hand wash only. All right, if you install the dishwasher like I did with your trading profits back in 2023, don't put the dang market cipher mug in the dishwasher. Okay? Hand wash only. Here we go, baby. Major shout out to everybody in the chat. And before we get into this, I have to say this. All right? KCEX. KCEX is currently giving away $600 during this stream to one blessed viewer. All you need to do is sign up using the link in the pinned comment. All right? Also, guys, I'm trading on WEEX. Link in the pinned comment, description, and BLOFIN as well. And guys, I'm really excited about Bitcoin because honestly, what has happened here is, in my opinion, this is bullish. Now you can see I'm in a little bit of a short trade. This is simply a hedge against my longs, all right? If this short trade gets stopped out right now, I lose 800 bucks, okay? I lose 800 bucks. But I'm up thousands, literally tens of thousands on my long. So this is a risk-free short for me, but just in case we dump from here, and I'm going to talk about why I think we might dump from here, but basically, I mean, here's the thing, guys. We are coming up to the most important resistance before all-time highs. That is this. That is this, the green box, the white box of hope and wonder. All right? The white box of hope and wonder. In fact, we're going to go ahead and put it on the chart. The white box of hope and wonder. Wabaha. 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 Sounds like one of those neoconservative acronyms. You know what I'm saying? Where's my man RFK up in here? Wabaha. The white box of hope and wonder. As you can see, we are coming up to the Fibonacci golden pocket, the 6-1 ETH. All right, the 6-1 ETH, and here's the thing about 6-1 ETH. As you can see, I have this folder of files right here, including this picture of myself smoking a cigar at the beach. That was an Ashton VSG, by the way. A great cigar if you're into cigars, okay? By the way, guys, don't skip leg day, all right? Look at that. Would you look at that? Sheesh. But the reason why we're in this folder in the first place isn't to talk about the time I got way too strung out on coffee and grew my hair. We're not going to talk about the time I was on the tractor. What were we going to talk about? Was the time I was running away from the cops from trading and driving? No. That wasn't it either. It was 6-1 ETH, the Fibonacci 618. But I don't see her here. No, I just don't see 6-1 ETH here. That's sad. That's sad. You know? Did I lose my 6-1 ETH picture? Did I lose 6-1 ETH? No. No. Ah, here she is. 6-1 ETH, the Fibonacci 618 level. My high school crush. Had a huge crush on this chick, thought that she was going to go steady with me, but when I asked her out and I said, babe, I was thinking maybe after school we could go out for some pizza. We could take all our money and buy Bencoin, live happily ever after off our crypto gains. She said, Jay, I'm not really into you like that. I'm into you more like a friend. And as you can see, the heartache and the emotion that poured from me with the purple candles coming down. All right? This is what we are facing right now on Bitcoin. The potential as we come up to Wabauhau. of a rejection because we were in the friend zone. Now, here's the thing about 6 Juanita, as we all know, the reason why she dumped me is because she was into criminals like this man, Sam Bankman-Fried here. And when we look at Sam Bankman-Fried, what do we see? We see big left man boob, skinny right man boob. Now, colloquially, this is known as what's called a bearish divergence. All right, a bearish divergence. Now, here's the thing. We need to be very careful right now as we're coming up to the 6 Juanita to ask her out on a date, to say, hey, 6 Juanita, will you go out with me? Are there bearish divergences on the chart? All right, is Sam Bankman-Fried appearing here with a big left man boob and a skinny right man boob? Honestly, guys, right now on the 4 hour, the answer is a scary yes, okay? On the 1 hour, the answer also is a yes. Oof. Let's check out our 24-minute time frame. This is literally my first time looking at the chart today. Honestly, guys, even on the 24-minute time frame, the answer is yes. All right, let's go to our 6-hour time frame here. The answer is yes, man. We are seeing Sam Bankman. I mean, let's take the boobs and we'll stretch them across the chart quickly. All right, just as an example. All right, let's go ahead here. Wow. Wow. The resemblance is indeed striking. All right, hang on. Let me make sure I'm seeing what I'm seeing here. You guys see that? You see that? Yeah, I think I see it too. All right, not the best look here for a potential rejection, but here's something else, guys. We know that if we do, let's say we do get a little bit of consolidation here, right? Not only is this the Fibonacci golden pocket, but it's also the high volume node of the entirety of this range right here, okay? So let's say we do get a little bit of a rejection, but we just chop around, continue in this range for a little bit. There's still a really good chance, actually, that we could hit a new all-time high. But this is going to be a very clear make it or break it zone, all right? So there's one of two things I expect to happen here. First of all, how are the higher time frames looking? Numero uno, the weekly. Market cipher B, green dot, will confirm in 3 days, 12 hours. We don't know how many minutes and seconds because TradingView won't tell us. But we're seeing momentum getting higher on the weekly. It actually looks kind of good. We go to the 5-day, the 4-day. Confirmed hidden bullish divergence. Still more upside potential in my opinion. We go to the daily. Money flow has just crossed from the purple into the blue. That's a pretty bullish thing. All right, that is a pretty bullish thing. All right, so look, here's scenario number one. It's a bullish scenario. Scenario number one is we simply just consolidate around here, right? It's the high volume node. We consolidate. You know, we hit it. We get a little bit of rejection. We kind of continue making these higher lows and higher highs, right? Like this, until we break out, right? This is scenario number one. Okay. Bullish. Higher time frames are going to push us through. Scenario number two is more of a ranged scenario. Now, I'd say we have a very, very clearly defined support resistance flip down at around 113K. And we also have a very, very clearly defined high at the high volume node of our range here. And so we can look at these yellow lines here as our sideways range, right? So scenario number two, we reject from here, we come down, and then we get a bounce to make a new all-time high, maintaining the bullish market structure that we've had all this way, okay? Basically maintaining this channel, right? That is scenario number two. Both scenarios are bullish. One is obviously more bullish than the other. And to be honest with you, I'd say it's more preferred in my book to come down a little bit more because, well, then we can get better long entries, right? Now, scenario number three, this is now a bearish scenario. We start with some bearish divergences, we come down, and we actually fail to keep the bullish market structure, and then we would actually be looking down towards the $107,000 area. This is such a key area because, look, is there a chance that the top is in for Bitcoin? Personally, I feel no. All right, I feel it in my soul. All right, inside my soul, which is right in here somewhere. All right. I can feel it. I feel it just now. I'm feeling it. It makes me kind of quiver when I feel it too. Because I get so excited about how high the Bitcoin price is going to go. But I feel in my soul, no, we're going to make a new high. This is not the high. But if this is the high, this is going to be our lower high. All right? If this is the high, we have just made our first lower low, taking out the higher high in the uptrend. This would be our lower high, and then we shoot for our lower low back down on here, and we continue down for however long, you know, however long it is. You know, I'm not here to call bear bull markets. My personal view is that the bear market will start in 2026 and probably, you know, the end of 2025. I would not be surprised if the next high for Bitcoin, in fact, I'm fully expecting the next high for Bitcoin will be the high for Bitcoin for the next few years. All right. But those are the various scenarios that I'm currently dealing with right now. Okay. Let's pull up the charts again here. Yeah, so look, here's something else that's a little bit bullish right now. I actually fully expect that we are going to take this high. I fully expect this short trade is going to get stopped out, and I'll tell you why. All right, I'll tell you why. It's because whenever you come very close to a Fibonacci Golden 618 / POC like this, and you front run it like that, just by a few dollars, all right, it is shocking. All right, it is shocking. But it also usually means that we're going to see another pump, and we are going to tap that level. And usually the tapping of that level means like we actually go through it, right? If I had woke up this morning and we had done this, then I'd say there's a pretty good chance that the high is in for the week and we're going to come down a bit lower. But because we front ran, I say now there's a pretty good chance actually that we do come up here and then see one of the scenarios play out. We're either consolidate, you know, and pump, or then maybe get a move back down towards 113 and then pump. Those are my two preferred scenarios. All right. And it looks like it's 8:30, so it's pre-market. We just got an injection of volatility. All right, let's check out Market Monkey. See what's happening with the live order book. Order book. People say, Jay, it's order flow, not order book. Whatever. I don't know anything about this nonsense. All right, I'm just here to fake it on the internet. All right, all YouTubers are paid actors. You know what I'm saying? Let's see here. So we had a lot of shorts open up that area. A lot of shorts open up there. Basically, guys, it looks like we have a recipe for a short squeeze here. We don't have any bearish CVD divergences here. Maybe you could say, nah, decrease of OI. We don't really have bearish divergences here yet. I'd say it's most probable we go for this high again. Let's take a look at the move to the upside that we had so far. Down here, interesting. We had a lot of shorts. We had a lot of shorts shorting that exact bottom. We had some significant amount of trap shorts here yesterday after FOMC, especially at around 18:45 p.m. 18:45 p.m. So you can tell I don't know anything. I give myself away when I say 18:45 p.m. And I don't even know what time that is. I have to count, you know, from 12 noon, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. That's like 6 o'clock, all right? 6 o'clock, we had a lot of trapped shorts down there. And then we pretty much had a short squeeze. So all those trap shorts got squeezed. Then we had shorts open again up here. Man, when will these shorts learn? First they short the bottom, then they short the top. I mean, you got to give them props for shorting the top. But front running a level like that, I would assume we're going to take that. All right? I would assume we are going to take that. So let's kind of wait and see what happens here. All right? So you can see we got a $385,000 position open here, up about $17,000. We've got ourselves a $500,000 position open here, up about 24K unrealized here. And I have to be honest, I am shooting for all-time highs, all right? I am shooting for all-time highs. Guys, make sure to sign up to KCEX because during this live stream, we're going to be giving away $600 to one very blessed winner. $600. You don't want to miss out on an opportunity to win $600. All right, let's see. All right, let's see. We got some people in the chat. Shout out to Joe Potter. He says Solomon thinks 75K in Q1 26. Who's Solomon? Is he in the chat, or is he actually... Do I feel it in my nefesh? Yeah, I feel it in my nefesh, man. Sometimes you gotta have soul trading. Who is buying these prices? Asks somebody. Well, that's a good question. I don't know, man. I don't know. We're going to take a look at the stock market as well. Buy high, sell low. That's the best way. Eerie Forest, he says, too much printing going to happen, bro. 2026 will be the year of the money printer. Don't fade. Yeah, look, I agree with that. Here's my view, is that 2026 is going to be the beginning of the bull market as well. All right, because really, when we think about it, if we think about this, 2022 was the beginning of the bull market, but it was also the bear market, right? When we go back to the chart, and if you were to take a look at the chart with the German accent, yeah, when we start to get the pump, okay? We see down here in the heat of the bear market, November 2022 is actually the beginning of the bull market. So I think the same thing happens. This is a horrible German accent. I think the same thing happens again. All right, 2021, beginning of 2022 is the beginning of the bear market. We are here. Okay, next year we will be here. So I agree. All right, I agree that it's going to be bullish. But, give it a little bit of time, right? Give it a little bit of time. We'll see what happens. Look, like I said, there are some big differences this cycle than previous cycles. There are actually some legitimate changes. All right, some legitimate changes. First of all, we hit the all-time high before the halving. Second of all, this is very important. We didn't get the bear market. The relief rally in the bear market kept going. Typically, we get a big pullback before the halving. That didn't happen either. So there are some differences here. Perhaps now that we have some institutions putting money in, we see a pump. Here's my thing, though, right? I'm always playing both sides of the candlestick, right? I'm a very open-minded kind of guy. Okay, so here's the thing. If I was BlackRock or the United States government and I wanted to get more Bitcoin, I would want to buy it at cheaper prices. And if I was in the position where I could manipulate the price because of the sheer amount that I have, I would probably do that. All right, so I'm just throwing that out there. All right, I'm just throwing that out there. All right. But what do you guys think? All right. Let me know what you think. Shout out to Suk Deep Sagu. Been watching you for years, seen an improvement in my trading and almost made back all my losses. God bless you. May the Lord bless you. Craig says, Jay, good morning. Could you confirm if you received correct UID? Whatever UID you guys sent me yesterday, I gave it to the exchange and they are currently processing everything, okay? They are currently processing everything. Shout out to Crazy Waffles 5150. Shout out to Crazy Waffles 5150. They always deny bonuses. KCEX does. Well, look, they have very cheap fees, and this is not a bonus. This is actually just money they're going to drop. Shout out to Chichaco. What is going on, my bro? God bless you, man. May Jesus bless you. Shout out to Mark. He says, yo! How many NFL players are stacking with every paycheck? Probably not too many. I hear that NFL players have a pandemic of going broke. All right. Shout out to Joe Potter. Shout out to Ernie Forrest. Look, Eerie Forest, I hope you're right, honestly, man. I do hope you're right. Shout out to Light of Yeshua. He says, preach the gospel every live you do. Abba. And then his interpretation of the Tetragrammaton gave you this platform for his glory. Amen. I fully believe with all my heart that the Lord did give me this platform for His glory. Absolutely. That's why I'm so open about my faith and my relationship with Jesus. And if you want me to preach the gospel, sure thing. I'll do it right now. I got my 30-second gospel already prepared. Man is fallen, separated from God because of sin. But God, desiring to restore to us what had been lost, He Himself took on humanity. And as a representative of humanity, He died to pay for the sins of humanity. And He rose again on the third day. He ascended to heaven. He's seated at the right hand of the Father. And He promises now that if we repent of our sin, which means I'm walking this way in my own ways, contrary to God's ways, but in my heart I purpose to turn from my sin and walk in God's ways, He promises to fill us with His Holy Spirit, cause us to be born again as a new creation, so we actually can turn from sin and walk in God's ways. He gives the power to do it because we're a new creation. It's a new birth and a new creation that allows us to walk in His ways. And instead of living this cruel, short, meaningless life and then we die, we have the eternal hope of eternal life, living with our Creator, doing the things that He originally created us to do, which is actually ruling and reigning over His creation with Him. That's what God said in the garden when He created man. He blessed them. It says in the Hebrew, "Vayivarech otam Elohim, vayomer lahem Elohim, peru orvu umilu et haaretz v'chivshuha," or do, be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, subdue it, and rule over everything I've made. And the Lord is coming back. He's going to gather His people to Himself, and He's going to set up His eternal family. That is the good news. That is the gospel. All right, so shout out to Light of Yeshua. GHPL says, RIP to science and common sense. Well, you know me, I'm just a southern hillbilly hick out here on the homestead, you know. I don't know anything. All right? So, all right. Okay, everyone's signing up with the KCEX. All right. All right. Okay, so let's take a look at some other things as it is 20 minutes until half an hour. Yeah, we're going to look at some altcoins as well. Yeah, let's start with Ethereum. But first, I do want to take a quick look at the stock market and see how the futures has reacted. You know, life is absolutely meaningless if you don't have a relationship with God. It's pretty insane to me that people can actually live life without a relationship with God and not be a complete nihilist. Because there's no purpose to life. If there's no eternal purpose, there's nothing. You can either live for pleasure. Eventually, that's going to run out. It's going to leave you empty, all right? I used to live for pleasure. You could live for money. You could live for experiences. You could live for fame and accolades. All those things are going to leave you empty once you achieve anything in life and you finally reach that goal. There's a big letdown, all right? And then after all of this work and toil in life, and for a lot of people, life sucks. Let's be honest. There's sickness, there's disease, there's poverty, horrible things happen, there's death, there's pain. And after all that, you just die and you're like, wow, what is the purpose? There is a purpose. God created you with a purpose. When He created the heavens and the earth, He had you in mind, and He has an eternal purpose for you. But you gotta surrender your life to Him, and He will change your life. I look back at my life, and I am in shock and awe of how much the Lord has changed me. It's crazy. All right, so we have the stock market. This is the 4-hour, pretty big pump. We've currently made new highs. We're currently holding above the VWAP pre-New York Open. I'd say this, today, if the S&P, this is ES mini futures, if we can hold 6,696, that is pretty dang bullish. All right, we definitely don't want to lose the VWAP. Let's go down to the 1-hour time frame. Let's pull a fib here. Yeah, we definitely don't want to lose that VWAP. We've got ourselves the golden pocket, the support resistance flip. Let's go ahead and pull a fixed range here. That was some wick yesterday. Look, we filled the gap. A beautiful gap fill. We don't want to lose, in my opinion, 6,690. Maybe I would accept 6,676 coming back down to the value area high. Let's go ahead and pull that. Do we have a 382 or something there? Let's check it out. Yeah, okay, I would say this, you know, today, especially for crypto, we want to make sure that the stock market remains bullish. Be watching, first of all, just a basic, you know, lose the VWAP on the S&P and then bounce, or coming back down to take the liquidity from here, back testing the value area high, the 382. These would be two areas where if you see today S&P 500 bouncing from these levels, also be looking at the Bitcoin price and see where the Bitcoin price is. If Bitcoin's at key support, also could be a good long trade. All right, let's take a look at Ethereum here. Man, oh man. Ethereum, in my opinion, we're going to see new all-time highs. All right. You know, when in doubt, zoom it on out. When in doubt, zoom it out. Monthly time frame still has some room to the upside. 2-month time frame, definitely room to the upside. 2-week time frame, money flow getting thicker. Yellow oscillator here. It looks like this, okay? It looks like we're going to do the old skippity-doo-dah like we did over here. All right, look at this. Remember this here, guys? The old skippity-doo-dah pattern? Look at that. The skippity-doo-dah pattern gave us another month of pure bullish bliss. PBB, as I call it. Pure bullish bliss. Skippity-doo-dah. The skippity-doo-dah. Yeah, okay, so here's the deal. As long as we are holding above the support resistance flip that we have here at about 3,900 to 4,000, this is ultra bullish. There's more room to the upside. We have broken out of a 4-year massive trend line going all the way back to November 2021. We have first tap, second tap, third tap, fourth tap, fake out, dip, breakout, back test, pump, bullish market structure, everything bullish here. And here's the thing, we are heading into, in my opinion, what is going to be a real altcoin season. I know people are saying it's not going to happen. I'm feeling it once again in the nefesh, all right? Once again in the nefesh. I'm feeling it in the nefesh, guys, that we are going to hit some new all-time highs here, all right? We're going to get a big altcoin ETH pump season. Bitcoin already, just the fact that Bitcoin has hit the highs and is still holding above $105,000 is bullish, all right? And there's still room for the upsides here. So let's take a look at the daily. Daily is about to print a green dot. Let's take a look at the 12-hour. The 12-hour, it's looking a little bit ambiguous. A little bit ambiguous. Here's the thing, the 4-hour is set up really nicely here. On yesterday's dip, the 4-hour got a really nice bullish divergence. Okay, 4-hour got a really nice bullish divergence. And I would say this, okay? Ethereum has come down to backtest the support resistance flip that we have here, all right? We have resistance, support, resistance, resistance, support, consolidation, okay? We came back to test that perfectly, all right? So a very key support resistance flip with very bullish divergences. Let's see, let's pull the volume. Let's see if we hit some kind of high volume note. It's sad that we didn't, right? But this is a really nice rounded bottom here. Higher high. Everything about this structure right now, in my opinion, is quite bullish. I think we're going to go for a high again. I think we're definitely going to see a $5,000 ETH. And the $5,000 ETH is a key psychological level. And I think when we get there, we're going to see a lot of people try and fade it, because they're like key psychological level, $5,000 ETH. But I think we're going to see ETH do what ETH does best. All right. ETH does best these relentless moves, right? Where it just doesn't stop and you think it's going to stop. Like people are like, $5,000 ETH, right? Let's check it out. You know, $5,000 ETH. You know, let's fade it, and we get a little bit of a dip, but then we're here and people are like, oh, let's fade it. Let's fade it. Let's fade it. It just is relentless. I really think that could happen. I think 5,500 is going to be a realistic target for ETH. And really, I'd say 8,500 is going to be a my bull market target. 8,500 to 10K moonshot, man. That is not so crazy if we look at this as simply just a giant bull flag, all right? Simply just a giant bull flag. We take it, we drag it, right? Look at this. We take it, we drag it. We're literally coming up to an $8,500 ETH. All right, just the technical target of this. Now, the $8,500 ETH is also the Fibonacci extension from the last bull bear cycle. All right, so let's go ahead and take our trend-based Fibonacci extension here from the low to the high to the low. Yeah, look at that. So it's, you know, it's a little bit off here, but you can see the 1.618 extension is pretty much the exact target of our bull flag in general. This says 8,006, but really I'd consider it 8,005. It just is because I don't have a magnet tool here, so it's all these candles. It's hard to find the exact bottom, but it's pretty clear. I'd say this is a good moonshot. 5,500 is our 1-to-1 Fibonacci. We have a 6,800 1.272 Fib extension here. All right. And again, this is the time, I would say, the last few months where we really would expect to see that big move. All right, major shout out to my man Juan. He says, can you look at Pepe? Keep preaching. Absolutely, we could look at Pepe. Shout out to Andrew. He says, good morning, Jason. Any thoughts of Bank of Japan possibly raising interest rates tonight? Yen carry trade part 2. Electric boogaloo. Blessings to you and the fam. Andrew, I'll be honest with you, I am not qualified to answer that question at all. All right. As an American, I don't know anything about the world at all, except I know that there's McDonald's in China. And other than that, I don't really know anything about any other country. But thank you so much for the super chat. And I wish I could give you a better answer, but I simply cannot. All right, Craig. Okay, you gave me the wrong user ID. All right, I'll see what I can do about that, bro. I'll see if there's anything I can do about that, okay? All right, let's take a look at Pepe. And look, we are going to do a $600 giveaway via KCEX. $600 giveaway. Because you know I love to trade on the K. Alright. Let's take a look at Pepe. Alright, so I mean this in general, we're talking about Pepe coin. We're talking about this, alright? We're basically saying there's a chance that this is a low. We have a trend line, we have the golden pocket, we have the support resistance flip, and that an opportunity to get into a long would be a breakout and a back test of this historic resistance. We're also saying that a juicy, amazing, which we're not saying is going to happen, but right now a long trade on Pepe that looks absolutely beautiful would be this. All right, a move down to take the lows. And then a reclaim of those lows. That would be insane. Like an amazing gift. But I would say this, okay? Let's assume. You know, look, it's not good to assume. You know what they say. But let's assume that the low is in here. If the low is in here, this is giving us a 5-to-1 risk-reward ratio. If we do this, right, let's say we say, all right, I'll DCA, like I have $1,000 to put in PP, but I'm gonna put 300, and if we dump 300, and if we dump 300, so I have my $1,000 position, probably average entry around here. It's about the same, honestly. So if you're looking to build a position now, assuming we dump, it's about the same risk reward, okay? I do think we could see PP coin pump. I do hold it. I'm not as confident as I was, but who knows? But let's take a look at Market Cipher. The weekly time frame looks nice because we have bullish momentum here. I think clear confirmation would be a break of this trend line. All right, let's go to the 2-day. 2-day, we have some nice, like, hidden bullish divergence as we consolidate here. So things are looking kind of nice here. The daily, it's tough. It's a little bit ambiguous, honestly. Consolidation. The 4-hour money flow looks good. I don't have any clear signals here. All right, I don't have any clear signals. I'd say for confirmation for a Pepe pump, wait for a break of the trend line. We've obviously 1, 2, 3 rejections from it, including last week. You know, your options would be you could decide to do a DCA of sorts, or you could assume that the bottom is in now and go full position. As long as your risk management's on point here, you know, stop loss below the triangle, which is dangerous because that's where the stop hunt is, but it's a 5-to-1 risk reward right there, assuming that we hit previous all-time highs, which I think is a realistic target. Honestly, if we're gonna break out of this trend line, it makes sense that we come up to 1712 and then boom, squeeze up to the all-time highs, at least make a double top there, you know. But again, is it a golden setup right here? No, it's not a golden setup. Let's pull the volume here just to make sure. Yeah, this is not a golden setup, honestly. It would be so much nicer to come down a bit lower here, just because it would give us a golden setup if, for example, we did a stop hunt of the triangle into the value area low and the lows of this range, right? That would be a golden setup. You know? All right. Let's see if we can't do a little bit of a KCEX giveaway, baby. All right. Shout out to Franz Dip. Can we look at SPX? Yeah, we could take a look. Let's do this giveaway first. All right. Let's see. What I need you guys to do, Pepe will pump hard. I hope it does, Gen X. I really hope it does, man. I do hold myself some Pepe. I hold Pepe, I hold Shiba Inu, and Dogecoin. Those are pretty much the only meme coins I hold. Alright, what you need to do, guys, is sign up for KCEX using my link. And then you gotta spam the chat with your... user ID. Alright? Spam the chat with your user ID from KCEX. One winner will be picked. And that winner will win $600. Alright? So I'm gonna move myself over here. And we are gonna count down from 10. Alright. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's see who it is. It is Lumbachi. Shout out to Lumbachi. Shout out to Lumbachi. Congratulations, Lumbachi. You have just won $600. All right. 600. Smackaroni and quesos. Cool. Just sent that over to KCEX. Man. We will get that prize money to you. Look, it's going to take some time to process, guys. When I'm not the one giving it away, because I'm not the one giving away this money, it's the exchange. When I give away my $1,000 giveaways, I give them away, and that's boom. All right, but they have to submit it. All right, my exchange rep has to submit it to the headquarters, and the headquarters has to push it through, and then it has to process in the system, and then it airdrops to your wallet. So it's like, it's going to take some time. All right. Shout out to our winner, Lumbachi. God bless. God bless. All right, let's take a look at SPX 6900. SPX 6900. All right. How can you pay so you can check SSX? I'm not sure. One person 600? Yeah, Lil Big Wayne. Usually we do one person for 1,000 when I do a giveaway. Look, it's more fun that way. It's more fun. If you're that one person, it's way more fun to get 600 than it is to get 100. Let me tell you. All right? Let me tell you. We're going to take a look at SPX 6900 here. I think the last time I looked at this, we were feeling kind of bullish, right? The weekly looks pretty not the best here. We would want to see more of a up-pointing yellow oscillator. The daily money flow doesn't look the best here. Bearish divergences. But here's the one good thing we have for SPX. We're bouncing from the value area high. We've gotten a reclaim and a back test, which does give us a valid long to take here. All right. It does give a valid long, but let's see here. We would obviously need to shoot for some significant new highs for it to be worth it. I'd say we need to shoot for at least a $3 price target for this to be worth it. Let's see if that's a realistic target here. Yep. That's actually perfectly realistic. That is the 1-to-1 Fibonacci extension. That is our 1-to-1 Fibonacci extension right there. Yeah, it's we have a, yeah, it's not the best thing, but we have a clear invalidation. All right, let's just put it that way. We do have a clear invalidation. The weekly time frame oscillator doesn't look the best. The daily time frame money flow doesn't look the best. Let's assume that this is the bottom, and this purple money flow is going to act as support on the value area high. All right, let's go to our 4 hour. 4 hour actually looks really nice here. 4 hour looks absolutely beautiful actually here. Based on the 4 hour, I'd say it looks pretty bullish. We have a beautiful bullish divergence right here. We have a break of the value area high and a back test with a hidden bullish divergence and a big banner from BitBoy Green Dot. So, yeah, I'd say it looks pretty good on the 4 hour. It looks ambiguous on the daily and the weekly. Faux show. Faux show. Shout out to Akadeus K, who says, "Can you check Sol?" Yeah, we'll check Sol. We'll check Sol. Make sure to smash up the likes, guys. Shout out to Crazy Waffles. He says, "Congratulations, you won my $5 giveaway." Thank you, Crazy Waffles. Man, speaking of waffles, I have to be honest, you know, my wife made the kids waffles for breakfast. Healthy waffles, you know. But, it smelled pretty dang good nonetheless. Alright, let's check out Sol. You know what I don't do is eat breakfast. That's not true. I eat breakfast. I eat breakfast when I feel like it, which is rare. It's rare that I feel like eating breakfast. Ugh. Breakfast. Just the word itself makes me tired. The thing about eating food at first thing in the morning is like the most horrifying. I'm a firm believer that breakfast turns you into a beta male. All right, breakfast turns you into a beta. All right, here it turns me. I should say that breakfast turns me into a beta male. All right, I don't know about y'all. Maybe some of you guys it turns you into an alpha, but for me, when I eat food, it tells my body, work's done. Time to chill out, man. It's time to chill. You know, I work hard all day so I can sit down and eat. after my work is completed and I feel accomplished and I reward myself by gratifying the natural desire to eat food, you know? And it tells my body, good job, Jason Casper's body. You did a good job today. You hit the gym, you hit the charts, you hit the homestead, you played with the kids, you did some stuff for your wife to help around the house, you know, doing some chores to make the wife happy, a little bit of chore play. You know, she's happy during the day, she'll be happy at night. You know what I'm saying? Now, if I eat breakfast, that's over, man. Back to bed. Once I get that spike of glucose in my bloodstream and I'm chilling, then I just want to kick back, relax, and do nothing, man. So, I don't know how your average American wakes up and goes to Dunkin' Donuts for a sugar-filled coffee and a bagel. Like, that would kill my drive, man. That would kill my drive. Solana. We've got ourselves a beautiful, in my opinion, sideways range here. And I'd say we're going for the highs. I'd say we're going for a new all-time high. I'd say we're going for the one-to-one fib extension, which is $381. I say there's no reason why we can't hit 550, the 1.618 fib extension. Solana. Here's the thing. We took the all-time high the first time. We just swing failure pattern the bottom of the local range. Very strong break back test. Now we're breaking out again of this key resistance. The most probable is that we go for the high. Why? Well, because we went for the low. And so now we're going to go for the high. And once we go for the high, we're probably going to do a little bit of this. And then eventually hit our way to 381. And it wouldn't surprise me if we eventually hit our way to 565. When we see ETH rally and all these things rally, that's about 100% gains from the previous all-time high. I'd say that that's pretty conservative. And from our current point, that's 120% gains. That is pretty conservative. In my opinion, you know, in my opinion. Isn't your first meal break fast? Of course it is, more biddies. So I never skip break fast. But when I say breakfast, you all know what I mean. I mean waking up and eating. You know, when your parents used to force you to eat back in school? It's the most important meal of the day. Studies show that kids that eat breakfast do better on their stupid exams and all this nonsense. Come on, you weren't even hungry, but they forced you to eat carb. You weren't hungry. Think about this. You weren't hungry in the morning. You didn't want to eat. But because of what they say, your parents forced you to eat Frosted Flakes or Fruit Loops and some crap that's setting you up for diabetes. And you didn't even want to eat it, right? That's the kind of breakfast I don't like. You know what I'm saying? That morning eating. I think it's better to wake up and force yourself to be uncomfortable and work hard all day and then reward yourself later. That seems to be more like natural. Considering before modern society, if you wanted food, you had to work for it. I mean, even if you had food, you had to work for it. No microwaves, no refrigerators. You had to go out, pick it, process it, store it. You know, you want to eat breakfast, you got to start a fire, man. Unless you're picking an apple from a tree. You want a meal, you got to work. You got to get some wood up in here, start a fire. You got to go kill an animal, you know. So wake up and drive to Dunkin' Donuts stuff, man. But don't worry, because RFK is taking the red 40 out of Fruit Loops. It's all going to be good again. We're going to be healthy. Yeah, I think Sol looks pretty good. Honestly. Let's check out Market Cypher B. Man, Market Cypher B, I'd say the weekly looks like we've got more upside here. I'd say it really looks like we formed a nice bottom with this hidden bullish divergence here. Looks beautiful. Hidden bull div, trigger wave. Look at the yellow oscillator, more room to the upside. The monthly time frame has confirmed that green dot. The 2-month time frame, nothing yet. 2-week time frame. Money flow thickening. Sol to me looks bullish. I hold Sol. It's one of my bigger holdings. Ethereum, Solana, Cardano, AVAX, Chainlink. These are some of my bigger holdings. I'd say it looks pretty good here on these higher term time frames, all right? Is Bitcoin pumping? Let's check it out. Bitcoin is in the same little range we've been in this whole stream, my man. But, you know, I'll consider that. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. Whoa. A little video editing software up in here. I need to fix this. You know what I'm saying? There we go. ETH was first, next to Sol. I kind of agree. How high do I think Sol will go? I'm thinking at 550. AVAX is pumping too. Man, I'm glad. I haven't even looked at AVAX. All right. Trust the process eats once a day. That's awesome. Sometimes I do that. Look, I go through phases. But, I didn't look at AVAX, but I want to look at AVAX. Yeah, let's take a look at AVAX. Yeah, I've done the OMAD deal, you know. Oh, nice, baby. Here we go. AVAX is pumping. Man, we had such an opportunity here, going all the way back to February, to load up at this key support. And here we go, baby. Looks good. Here we go, baby. Once we break this trend line, man, it is Moon City. It is Moon City. Yeah, I eat honestly to fuel my body, so I'm a very active person, so it's very difficult. It can be done, but it's very hard day after day to eat 5,000 calories in one meal. I find that if I eat more than like 2,700 calories in a meal, I don't do a good job digesting it, right? So I usually break it up into like 2 meals, you know? 2 meals. That's what I like. But they're both kind of later. I'll eat like lunch and dinner kind of thing, you know? Probably I eat within like a 5 to 6 hour window most days. I'll fit like 5,000 calories in that window. Look, here's the deal. If I wake up and I hit the gym at like 6 a.m. and I'm hungry at 8 a.m., I will eat. But if I'm not hungry, I'm not going to force that, man. I just kind of listen to my body. And you know when you're hungry, all right? You know when you're actually hungry because you're weak. All right? It's not just a feeling in your belly of empty. It's you're weak. All right? You're walking on the treadmill and it's like, man, this feels hard. I guess I need some actual energy, you know? AVAX looking juicy, baby. Look at this beautiful monthly green dot just confirmed. Look, September is Ethereum's June, in my opinion. We are going to see a break. We are going to see us come above 57 bucks, in my opinion. We're going to see us hit 150, and probably my target is a $300 AVAX, right? That's my target here. Everything about this looks absolutely beautiful right now. I don't really know what else to say, except I'm glad we're finally getting a pump here. I have not checked my altcoin portfolio in a very long time, out of depression. But I do have plans to hopefully make some money on these alts. All right. Don't have glucose for breakfast. I love glucose. I love sugar. I eat like 300 grams of sugar a day. Gen X crypto. I'm a high carb kind of guy, you know. All right. Pengu, shout out to Last Tin Can for the super chat. God bless you for the super chat. Thank you. Shout out to Master JTN. STX, what do you say about the Feast of Trumpets next week? Just curious to hear my opinion. What do you mean? What do I say about it? What do you want me to say about it? Do you want me to preach a 1-hour sermon on the Feast of Trumpets? Because I will. I will do that right now if you want. All right? I'm not even kidding, bro. What do you want me to say about it? Shout out to DJ Dale. Can you check BNB for a potential short? Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Last Tin Can. Thoughts on Pengu? Pengu. All right, so we were waiting for a dip more, which we never got. Sad that we never got that. We were looking for us to take out that low, and we did take it out by a little bit there, but I was looking to come down to the order block we had on the daily order block. Sadly, didn't happen, okay? But I would say that this structure here does look bullish. Like, this is just a clear cup and handle, bull flag break. All right. We have bullish div on the daily. Looks great. All right. Excuse me. 2-day looks decent. The 3-day, nice trigger wave here. Check out the week. The week is printing a green dot. The 12-hour looks gorgeous with that money flow cross. And honestly, if we take this trend line, we are doing the good old-fashioned breakout backtest combo, right? It looks pretty bullish to me, not gonna lie. And this is the measured target of our cup and handle here. Wait, let me just make sure we have our actual measured right here. I don't know if that was actually correct. Okay, so our actual target, I don't know why I have this. I think it was just an example here. Our actual target is much lower than the actual cup and handle target is here, which is actually still an 11-to-1 from that setup. But let's see, if we're gonna go with this entry here, stop below the low, this is still it's almost a 5-to-1. It's not bad. If you're gonna assume that the local bottom's in here with the money flow cross on the 12, it's a 7-to-1. All right, not financial advice, but we do have a breakout and a back test of a cup and handle here, so it is a valid long. Okay, safer would be stop under the lows, but that gives you, you know, a 4-to-1, which is still honestly still pretty good. So depending on your risk management and all that kind of stuff, I'd say there is a valid long setup here, you know. Shout out to Master JTN. STX. Let's check it out. Wow. Look at that wick on Binance. That is interesting, huh? Well, obviously we got a little bit of consolidation here in a triangle. We're not including that wick. Consolidation around the value area, point of control. So if we don't include that wick, we don't have any divergence. If we include the wick, we have massive divergence on the weekly. It's a bit ambiguous, I'll be honest with you. Okay, it's a bit ambiguous. I don't have a clear signal for it, but I would say, let's assume that the low is in. All right. It's really hard because we're just chopping around at fair value. We're chopping around at fair value. I would love to see a move down to value area low. That would be a really nice, obvious kind of setup. This wick does throw things off. Or a move up to, you know, $1.50 for a potential little bit of a rejection and a back test, and then look for the long. But right now, just chopping around at fair value with ambiguous signals. I'm not really feeling anything, to be honest, Master JTN. We're going to look at BNB for a potential short. I wouldn't be shorting BNB unless it's like real quick. But this thing is in price discovery mode, almost $1,000. Obviously, it's psychological price. So, psychological, we're assuming we're coming to psychological resistance here. $1,000. To be honest with you, the 1 hour looks bullish with the money flow. The daily looks bullish. The divergences are invalidated. Let's check out our monthly here. I mean, the monthly is showing signs of strength here. The 12-hour, even the money flow is showing signs of strength. We do have some slight divergence here. You know, it's difficult to be shorting BNB in price discovery mode. If you were there in the moment to hit that $1,000 short psychological, good job for you, because you ended up with a 2% scalp. The only thing we could say now is one of two things. Like, honestly, the shorting this now would be hard to get into the trade. Let's be honest. One of two things, okay? The first thing is this, and the easiest way to short in price discovery mode is this, okay? Wait for the sideways range to form, and then short the fake out. All right, we make our high, for example, right here. And once you get the fake out, you short if you see the bearish divergence. You have to treat this as a scalp, guys. You have to treat this as a scalp, okay? Once again, we form the sideways range here. We take the high the second time, more bearish divergence, you short, okay? So right now, and same here, look. All right, we have the sideways range. We take the high, short scalp, all right? That would have given you a move of about, let's see here, you know, about almost 1% on a scalp, all right? These, you need to assume the trade is going to go against you, take profit quick, lock that baby in. So right now, we need to be watching and waiting to see if we range around a little bit here. Let's say we come down, take the low, chop, 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 take the high, and we have bearish divergences starting to form here, you know, then that could be an opportunity to scalp it. And maybe you caught the top, and if you did, take that profit one quick, and then you can add on a retest or just hold it. But I would be careful shorting BNB. Make sure you have a precise entry here. All right, make sure the entry is precise. Shout out to Campbell for the super chat. Thoughts on H-bar? H-bar. Lumbachi, I don't know. You don't need to KYC. You don't need to KYC. All right. People want me to do a 1-hour sermon on the Feast of Trumpets? Maybe I will. Do I think the rapture happens during the Feast of Trumpets? Well, obviously I can't say that for sure, but I would say this: the pattern that's based in the Torah and the prophets is that when the trumpet blows and the Lord returns, he's going to gather his people. All right, this goes back to Deuteronomy chapter 30, where it says the Lord will return and gather his people. All right, we see it in Isaiah, right? In Isaiah 27, the great trumpet's going to blow. We see it in Isaiah 11. We see it all throughout the prophets. You know, Matthew 24 is pretty clear. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the trumpet blows. The Lord will descend with a shout, gather his people, set up his kingdom. So, all things considered, I'd have to say, if I had to pick a view, it would be that when the Lord returns to judge his enemies, he's also gathering his people to himself. And a lot of people they call the gathering the rapture because of the 1 Thessalonians 4 scripture, which says that we'll be gathered together, harpazo, which the Latin Vulgate said raptoro. We'll be caught up. All right. I think the catching up / gathering happens when the Lord returns. And Jesus says it happens immediately after the tribulation of those days. So I'm going to go with what Jesus said on that one. And if I'm wrong, then don't care at all, to be honest with you. I'd actually be happy to be wrong. But let's take a look at H-bar. All right, the week. Well, what can I say? Okay? What can we actually say about this besides we have ourselves the breakout money flow about to cross on the weekly. This looks ultra bullish to me, man. This looks extremely bullish. Bullish div on the weekly. Bull flag, back test of value area high, reclaim a value area high. This looks like a really bullish impulse, correction, back test, and reclaim here. This looks really nice on the weekly. I'd say this looks pretty nice on the weekly. I would expect this to go up. All right, am I saying to buy now? I mean, right now, all-time highs has given us a 2.5 to 1 risk reward. Pretty much not worth it, in my opinion. But let's assume we pump up to like $1. That is worth it. All right, $1 is only 79% higher than the previous all-time high. So this plan could be worth it if your risk management is in check. What would be better? Obviously, look, whenever we're looking at buying something, we have to weigh the risk and reward and decide, do I actually want to buy this now? Or do I want to look for a different setup and potentially not even get in, right? So obviously a better setup right now would be coming back down to the golden pocket, right? This would be absolutely a beautiful gift. Coming back down to backtest 19.58 cents. All right. Yeah, Bolsham Parade, I agree with you, man, but you know, some people would fight to the death over this topic, which I think is dumb, but some people will fight to the death over that, so I'm just gonna, you know, I'm not gonna be arrogant enough to say I know for sure, but when it comes to, you know, who I trust the most on the topic, I think there's only one place in the whole scripture where it puts a time on the rapture, and that's in Matthew 24, where Jesus says it happens immediately after the tribulation of those days, which is a reference to Daniel 12, which we know he's speaking about that final time, right? So OVO, UVU, OVO. All right, let's just take a look at OVO. Whoa, is this the right coin? I don't know what to say about OVO, man. But you know what? It reminds me of that stuff called Ovaltine. Did your guys' parents make you drink Ovaltine? Any of you 90s kids, did your parents give you Ovaltine? They mix it in milk. It's like this weird, it doesn't taste like chocolate. I don't know if it's supposed to. It's supposed to have all your vitamins. It's probably just a whole bunch of sugar. My mom used to give me Ovaltine, man. I like that stuff. That was good. I could go for some Ovaltine right now. I cannot do any analysis on this chart, to be honest with you. I'm sorry, man. I don't know. All I can say is this. If you're a gambler, okay, and you're bullish on this NFT platform, and I do believe NFTs have a future. I know a lot of people say it was a whole, you know, I just think, here's the thing, last market cycle, they were premature, right? They were premature. Obviously, once we all live in our smart cities on universal basic income, eating gray pellets for food, and we're all hooked up to the computer via Neuralink, so our gray pellets taste good, and we can go wherever we want in the metaverse, and hang out with whoever we want in the metaverse, and eat and drink whatever we want in the metaverse, and look like whatever we want in the metaverse, NFTs are actually going to be like a big thing, all right? With our digital currency, our digital blockchain, universal basic income currency, NFTs are probably going to be a big thing, all right? Just give it a little bit of time. I think we need a little bit more time, all right? But if I was a gambler, I'd say this. Look, I throw $1,000 in here, all right? And I could make $800,000 if we hit the all-time high, all right? I throw 100 in here, I can make 80K. You know, if your two options are you lose 100 or make 80K, I'd say, yeah. If there's anything about this that keeps you bullish fundamentally, why not? Like, why the heck not, honestly? You know? When the risk is very low, so low that it doesn't affect you in any way, shape, or form. Now, if $100 affects you, don't do it. If $1,000 affects you, don't do it. But if the risk is so low, you're like, $100, you know? Nothing, no big deal. Make that back in one Bitcoin trade plus, right? Then you're like, well, if I lose 100, no big deal, but I could make 80 grand. Okay. If the OVO NFT platform goes well, you know? Is Bitcoin moving up now? Let's check it. One minute until New York opens, guys. Uno minute until New York opens. All right. Oh, it wasn't OVO. He gave me a super chat saying, dude, TA on Uranus. My bad, OVO. All right, my bad, bro. My bad. My bad. Yeah, let's do Uranus. Uranus. I would assume, you know, the god Uranus is actually just a reference to the Greek word Uranos, which means heaven. I could be wrong about that. You know, it is interesting. Uranus. Let's check it out on the daily. Let's put it on good old MCB, baby. Oh look, we got some daily bull div, swing failure pattern, chickens drinking water. Let's check it out. Come on, come on. Come on, come on. This does not load, alright? I don't know what's going on with it. Let's try and refresh. Here we go. Wait, no, this is H-bar. What the heck? I don't know why. Is there just not enough data here? What the heck is going on? I have no market cipher right now. Let's try and reload this. I can't do anything without market cipher. All right? I cannot do anything without market cipher. So I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. Like, I'm blind. All right? I'm blind without the cipher. What in the world? Do I think the Great Tribulation has been completely triggered? Look, personally, no. And I am not one to stand on a, I'm not one to die on an eschatological hill, let's just put it that way. When it comes to eschatology, I have my view, but I'm very open to being wrong, all right? Because sincere men of God throughout the centuries and millennia have held to different views, all right? So I understand this, but in my current view, I'm going to say, no, it has not started yet, because it's my understanding that it's not going to start until a political / spiritual figure stands in the Holy of Holies, whether that be in an actual temple or a tabernacle, but I believe it is an actual physical structure. I don't think it's just talking about, people or whatever, and says, I am God. That is when I think it, at the period of time, which also, according to my understanding, lasts about 1,260 days, 42 months, 3.5 years, begins. All right? Also, in Daniel, it talks about, and Jesus talks about, this period of time being so bad, there's been nothing like it since there were people on the earth. And there will never be anything as bad as it again. And I know things are bad on the earth right now. But when you read through Revelation, it seems like things are really bad, right? I mean, like real pandemics, real natural disasters, like crazy things happening all at once. I just don't see this time having begun yet. Not until, like I said, we see a figure claiming to be God in the holy place. All right, to me that is the trigger. Could I be wrong? Of course. I mean, here's the deal. When it comes to end times, when it comes to eschatology, it's fun to study, and it is important in case we end up living through that time and we can say this is that, right? We could say this, what's happening now, is what the prophets wrote about and what Jesus talked about. So it's important. It will be important during that time. But as far as my life goes now, I mean, the Lord has my days numbered. So my main job is to focus on living for the Lord right now, as best I can right now, and not get overwhelmed with what might happen in the future, right? I know the Lord's going to work everything out. I know He's going to save His people. I know that Jesus is the resurrection and the life. And so I'm just going to hang on to that, do my best right now, and if we see things start to unfold, then we can say, hey, this is that. You know, it'd be a good, definitely good to be able to know what's going on, to show people, hey, this is what the scripture said would happen. You know? But here we are, Uranus. Switching topics, all right? We do have a CDW here. I don't know what is wrong with my indicator and why it's not loading here. It's quite frustrating. This really is quite frustrating. It was just loaded a second ago here. We got to give a shout out to Lost Liberty. We got to give a shout out to OT. I don't understand what is going on with this indicator. All right. This is quite frustrating. Uranus means sky. In modern Greek, does that mean sky? I only know the context of like biblical Greek, man. That's all I know. I don't know much about modern Greek at all. Maybe it means both, right? I know in the Septuagint, in Genesis chapter 1, the word means heaven, so that's all I know about it. This is quite frustrating, man. So don't mistake weather manipulation with actual nature. Look, here's the thing. We just know that these things are going to happen. We don't know how it's going to be caused. It would not surprise me at all if the cataclysms that happen in the end times are man-made, right? That actually makes the most sense to me. All right. When we look at the end time, the destruction of the earth that happens before the Lord comes back, it says this: the earth is defiled by its people. They have disobeyed the laws, and they violated the statutes, and they've broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore, a curse consumes the earth. Its people must bear their guilt. I mean, it seems to me that because of what people have done on earth, the effect that it has on the earth is something crazy, right? I mean, the NIV is trying to gloss over some of the Hebrewisms, but a more literal translation, you know, it says, you know, the earth is going to be made empty and made waste. It's going to be turned upside down, like something is happening. It says the earth staggers like a drunk. You know? So it's my view, you know, that man-made weather manipulation, which I don't think we're supposed to do, is having some pretty devastating effects on the Earth. And I think what else is interesting about that is, just like everything else, it's been politicized, right? The climate change people versus the climate change deniers. The climate change people say, it's because your cow is farting that there's climate change. On the liberal side. Then the conservative side, we need to get rid of all meat and make lab-grown meat, and we need to stop driving our cars. The conservative side says, nah, it's all fake, man. But really, what's really happening is there is weather manipulation, man-made. It's happening at a very high level. Geoengineering is a real documented fact. All right? And you're not supposed to mess with the Earth. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? It's not your cow farting. It's like governments and companies that are manipulating the weather. Then they're going to try and blame the farmer. It's ridiculous. But here's the thing. Both politicized views are wrong. It's not fake. And it's also not caused by farts or your car. You know? These natural disasters that are happening is probably caused because we're messing with the dang weather. Just, yeah, HARP, exactly. You know? Just throwing that out there, man. But who knows, right? Who knows? Beware of false dichotomies. Everything is so politicized, and they give you two choices, and you have to pick a side, and you're always going to pick the side that you align with more. You're going to say, I don't fully agree with everything that this predetermined view I'm supposed to have is offering, but because I agree with it more, I'm going to go with this one. Be careful. That's how they control people. That's how they create groupthink. That's how they get people into camps, and they get people to endorse things that they would not normally endorse. All right, just be very cautious. We live in an age of deceit. We live in an age of AI where literally anything can be faked. Okay? Anything can be manipulated. Just be very careful. Right? I'm so sorry for the super chats, guys. But my market cipher doesn't work. And I have to head out because I have a very important thing to do with my family today. I love you all. May God bless you all. And I will see you guys next time. Peace.